The NHL is back, and so are the expert hockey handicappers at WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com. Right now, you can lock in as many handicappers as you want through the Stanley Cup, giving you 25 weeks of hockey for $3.99 using coupon code PuckTime100 when purchasing an NHL season pass. Lock in your favorite handicapper through the Stanley Cup in July.
What's up, guys? We are back to Puck Time on WagerTalk TV. I am Andrew McInnis, Carmine, Bianco joining me as usual, and the Prez, co-founder of WagerTalk and co-host of WagerTalk today. Mr. Carmine, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. So night last night. Overall, I think even. Sorry, I know I'm all over the place today. As you know, Andrew, because we discussed this before the show and yesterday, a little bit of an apology to some of my clients because after the show, I said I was going to put up my Colorado -1.5 in my St. Louis plays to my upload to my NHL subscribers, and then something went wayward, and I forgot to put those up. So it was a 1-2 night last night, but everyone here in the chat got those winners yesterday. So it's a little blip in the road to the Stanley Cup, and we'll get them back tonight.
Prez, I got to give you some credit. You're posting these videos all over social media every day. Your free play videos are hitting at a high clip. How are things, man?
Yeah. Andrew, things couldn't be better, man. I want to apologize to Carmine's clients. He had a total brain fart last night. But he'll get it back. As far as the videos go, Andrew, I'm enjoying doing them. The thing that bothers me the most, though, is when you lose a client play. I had Arizona last night. Really just walked into a super hot goaltender, and that lost. But I released. What did I release? I released Colorado -1.5 on the free video, and that hit. And that was another dog. And the day before, I released Vancouver -0.5 goal in the first period +150. 2 dog winners on those videos in a row. And I'm telling you, Andrew, these tweets that I mean, Sunday, 2 prop winners I tweeted out. You guys need to follow me at Prez WagerTalk. And yeah, I'm going to just keep on rocking and rolling with them. I feel like I'm seeing the ice really well, man. And a day after Wayne Gretzky's 60th birthday, I feel like a youthful Wayne Gretzky standing behind the net, just seeing the flow of the game.
Look at your background, man. You're on the ice right now. I did want to mention, Prez, I forgot to mention when I was bringing you in. The great guest you had on yesterday, Barnaby, was a great guest for you guys.
Yeah,
I was happy that a lot of the questions he answered for you guys, I kind of already was thinking that stuff myself, but some of the things were really refreshing to hear, from an NHLer's perspective. So what was your biggest takeaway, Prez, from having him on there as a guest?
I appreciated what he was talking about in regards to back-to-back games and how mentally exhausting it is and these long road trips. The thing that stood out to me the most, and it's funny, it's Super Bowl, not Super Bowl week, but the Super Bowl is right in front of us. Bruce Arians was being interviewed, and he was saying, well, it's definitely an advantage being at home. Our players get to sleep in their beds, go home to their wives. Barnaby said, screw that. Best thing is when you're on the road, then you finally sleep. No wife, no kids. So I found that very fascinating that the guys, the start of the road trips, real good bonding time for the men. And, well, they just get some space from estrogen. And that has to be a good thing.
And this is the video we hope Vivian is not watching. But no, Prez, I actually felt the exact same way. That's kind of the takeaway I had. I don't know, Carmine, if you caught the video at all, but it was cool to hear him say, like, the end of the road trip is when it really gets tough on you. And, you know, you've been in a hotel for several days. But like you said, they're getting away from crying kids. They're getting away from household duties instead of actually, you know, just focusing on the game of hockey. Carmine, did you catch any of the video?
Yeah, no, I did, and I tend to agree with them. This year is completely different in all sports. So even though this is a hockey show, I'll quickly touch on the football thing. It's not going to affect KC going to Tampa 2 days before. They were in the Super Bowl last year. They know what to expect. They got the thrill of it last year. They don't need that thrill of it. They just need to get on the field and win the game. Switching back to hockey, because Prez talked about Gretzky, it reminded me of a story. This happened a few years back. I'm at Caesars, staying at Caesars in Vegas, and I'm in the pool, hanging, chatting with my brother. And this girl in the pool says to us, "Oh, you guys," because we're talking about hockey, and she says, "You guys Canadian?" And we're chatting, and you know who it turned out to be? None other than Paulina Gretzky.
Wow.
And if you know
Okay,
Paulina, she's a smoke show.
can we just have a
Anyway.
moment to picture that image?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And that's all I would need, Prez. It's just a moment. But we'll
Yeah,
keep
well,
going with this.
Follow her on Instagram, people. It's worth the follow. I know Joe Ranieri spends half of WagerTalk today following her on Instagram. So
For you guys in chat, this is what happens when there's only 2 games on the nightly card.
I'm happy to
and
have the
Prez is
small
on.
talk. Let's get into these games, though. Let's get into it. We have 2 games on deck for tonight, and then each of us are going to mention one game going on tomorrow. I'm not going to complain, guys. We have hockey. Hockey is in the air. It's kind of weird how there's jam-packed schedule one night and then 2 games the next night, but we'll deal with it, guys. We'll move forwards. And the first game we're going to discuss, the Blackhawks and the Predators. I actually had the Predators last night. I had them tied into a 2-teamer actually with the Colorado Avalanche. And we are going to look at this one and ask you guys. I'll start with you, Carmine. We saw how tight checking it was. Malcolm Subban actually had probably the best game I've ever seen him play. And I think the Predators actually played a great game. It was a desperate game for them. And I feel like the score does not really dictate how that game panned out. And I actually, as much success as we've seen from teams rallying and bouncing back in the second games, as we've seen from Ralph Michaels with his stat sheets, I just feel like the Predators build off that win last night, Carmine.
Yeah, you know, I watched some of that game, and I'm not really sure why I watched the game, just because they're just 2 teams that are not on my radar for either one being very good this year. But I'm a little bit surprised. I know a lot of people. I stayed away from that total. A lot of people were talking about that total, and yeah, Blackhawk games, or you've got to take the overs in Blackhawk games, and Subban's in net. Not completely sold on going sort of that route. Nashville didn't look good in those 2 games against Dallas. A little bit better last night. 39 shots on goal, pretty good. So yeah, Subban did play well. He's not going to be in net tonight, apparently. I think they're going to go with, if memory serves me correct, I think the starter is going to be Lehkonen tonight. With that in mind, you spoke about Ralph Michaels. He posted something up there, a stat up there, which comes into play tonight. Last night's total was 6. And when the first game goes under by a goal, the over in the next game, according to his stat, which was posted 2 days ago, is 10-0 to the over the next night. Keeping with that for a second, the Leafs against the Flames went under by a goal in that first game. Last night, that game was 4-3 final, went over the total. So if that stat is updated and correct, it is 11-0 to the over going into tonight, which would make tonight's game an overplay. So as far as that goes, that's probably where I'm leaning here, over in the Nashville-Chicago game.
We've seen it happen a bunch of times, not just with the Leafs yesterday, and that 6.5 closed at plus 105. I'm looking the exact same way, Prez. What about yourself?
I like Nashville here, guys. Minus 180 and on the puck line. I know we have to give out a best bet later in the show, so I have one on this game. But, 39 shots on goal and only 3 goals. Subban stood on his head, but in the same regard, what Nashville showed us is really how bad Chicago is. Nashville put up 17 shots on goal the game before against Dallas. You put up, I mean, last night, one of the teams I've gone black, Calgary put up 1 shot in the entire first period against the Leafs. 39 shots is no joke. Nashville was buzzing all over the ice. And Chicago, they have their 2 wins for the season. So I think they're good. They likely will only win another 1 game for the rest of the year. That's not true. But, Andrew, I love playing against really bad teams when their record isn't as bad as they are. And Chicago is sitting with a 2-3-2 record. This team is way worse than a 2-3-2 record. These numbers are not going to hold for them. And Nashville at 3-3, that's roughly around where I think Nashville will end at the end of the year, somewhere around 50%. So for Nashville to continue to do that, they're going to beat these bad teams. And Chicago Chicago will come back down to earth, not suggesting that they were in space with this brilliant 2-3 record, but this is an awful hockey team. Nashville has still got a lot of veterans. Yoshi is just ridiculous. I like Nashville in the first period, and I like Nashville on the game. And I'll tell you, the first period, I think this team's going to come out flying. 2-0 in the first is my predicted score. So I like Nashville a lot here. And if you don't want to take the -180, just grab them in the first period.
And I still can't believe that Malcolm Subban was having that performance that he really did, because I've never seen him do that at all. And Prez, to your point, those 2 wins from the Blackhawks, they were against the Detroit Red Wings. So, I mean, Prez is talking about them getting their share of wins and getting a win, and they were against the Red Wings. So nothing to really be too proud of. And a type of handicapping I always talk about is just looking at a game, and like Prez is talking about with the shots on goal, the dangerous scoring opportunities. The score from last night's game does not reflect how the game could have potentially panned out. And some of those advanced stats, the Corsi stats, would show you this game could have been wide open. So I expect this one to be the exact same way, where we actually start seeing those expected goals get in there. And a great value there on that first period that Prez is talking about as well. Prez, I'm going to start with you with the Vancouver-Ottawa game. I had a big 5% winner on Vancouver against Ottawa Monday night. 2-0 start with the 5% plays, but now it's a bounce back situation, and -160. I just give us a second and touch on that price for me, Prez. Like, you've been in this industry for so long. How do you feel about this price after that beatdown we saw?
Well, Andrew, first, I just want to mention, just going back quickly to the Nashville game, Nashville -0.5 goal in the first is +140. So all you have to do is ask yourself, will that happen 2 out of 3 times? And I think it will, especially in this spot. So I really do love that bet. As for the -160, I can't take it, Andrew. I'm not going to bet the -160 here because something worries me about this game. I will say that Vancouver is a much better team than their record. I had Vancouver in the top 4 coming out of the North. They've really started off slow, only 2 regulation wins on the season. But nothing rights the ship more than playing Detroit, Chicago, or Ottawa. Just something about this Ottawa team. They're trying, man. They are trying and trying their best. And Vancouver, I need to see them string together a decent run before I can start betting them at -160. If you guys need to bet this game, I actually think taking Ottawa in the first period at +115. If it goes in tied, it's a push. So I like that bet a little bit. And if you're going to take the whole game, I would go -1.5 +160. If Vancouver does win this game, I think they win it handily. And if the Senators, the correlation parlays they talk about, Vancouver and the over, the Senators and the under. I have no issue with you guys taking that -160 and linking it up to the over, because if Vancouver does win this game, they're going to put up a lot of points.
And Carmine, we talk about the Senators here coming off that pretty much disastrous of a beatdown. I'm looking at their team total over 2.5. I think they still do have youth. They can have, quick, refreshed memories and move on to their next game. And that team total is low, and they've actually cashed that several times. Let's not forget here, Vancouver has gone over in every single game of the year so far, besides one game. Their defense is still pretty shaky. I'm looking at the team total over for Ottawa, Carmine, and the full game over in this one.
Yeah, there's no reason for me to think that that Ottawa's going to reverse what happened the other night in that 7-1 win by Vancouver. I just don't see it. I don't really want to lay the 160. And, I understand what Prez is saying about Ottawa trying, but at the end of the day, the Sens have one win. One win. That was that emotional game against the Leafs that we knew that they would play early on in the season, which they've done the last 2-3 years against the Leafs. That first game, they play well against them. But they've been outscored 27-15 thus far. They're just not a very good team. Much like Detroit, they're going to lose a hell of a lot more than they win. The one thing about Vancouver, and you saw it in that 7-1 game, Andrew, is they really need to get Peterson going, Elias Peterson. He's got the puck in front of the net and he's passing off. It's almost like he's afraid to shoot. You get that guy going and maybe that team starts to turn around. I understand their record isn't that great. If you were looking at, because these teams have to play, I believe they play one more after they play tomorrow night. I would tend to think that if Ottawa was going to steal a game of these three against Vancouver, it might be that third one that they steal on the back-to-back. So as far as this game goes, if I had to look at a play within the game to take, I'd probably take Vancouver first period because it's the lowest number of all the options that are out there. Vancouver is minus 135 to win the first period. Obviously, if it's tied at the end of the first, that is a push. So I'm taking the money line minus 135 Vancouver tonight.
And guys, I'm not sure if this is a tactic that you guys ever use, and obviously I don't really have any stats in front of me to back this up, but I do want to get both Prez and Carmine your opinion on this. When you see these back-to-backs, especially in a playoff game, especially when you're seeing a physical end, that third period, we had Austin Watson fight twice. We had so many guys not getting just one fight, but two fights. There was checking at the end. Tkachuk was right in the mix of that. To me, penalties mean power plays, and power plays mean goals. And both these two teams actually have great power plays. Does that ever go into your handicapping when you're handicapping a total, Prez?
It does, and I think it's also indicative of what Ralph was saying with the second games going over. I think we've seen it all year, and I think we're going to see a much, and I mean a substantially higher amount of power plays this year than ever before. There are teams playing each other 4 games in a row. And it's not the playoffs where the refs put the whistle away. Some of these teams in the North are going to play each other 10 times. The amount of power plays that they're going to be, for instance, when Edmonton plays Calgary, it's really going to be a remarkable part of the handicapping this year and something I'm very bullish on. With that said, Andrew, I don't know the exact stats of the Ottawa power play, but I have watched it. I don't think they show up. I mean, I spending most of their power play in their end chasing a puck, as Moira would say, does not make a power play good. That's from Schitt's Creek, by the way.
Well, they're not very good, Prez, so that's probably where they're going to score most of their goals, right? And that's kind of what I would say. That's where I'd expect them to score their goals. And as far as the over goes, Carmine, Murray hasn't looked too great on the season, but he's also playing for a bad team. Do you ever use that strategy looking at these penalty minutes, Carmine?
I don't. I do look at how specialty teams look heading into a series, especially against teams that do take a lot of penalties. And speaking about the Ottawa Senators, they're hitting at a 12% clip right now on the power play. That's not the greatest stat. It is. They're 25th in the league right now. Of course, it's a short sample when you look at some of the better teams. When you look at Ottawa, they're not one of the better teams, so you expect them to be down there. You can look at Vegas and say, well, Vegas is at 11.5%. That's a short sample size. Vegas's power play is a very good power play, and they'll be, at the end of the year in the top 7, top 8 power play wise. But this is a pattern for Ottawa that will be with them throughout the season. They're just not a very good team, unfortunately, and are going to finish last in this division.
So, guys,
and
we'll
Andrew,
move on.
just
Go ahead, Prez.
Andrew, just really quick on that power play concept. The power play is really a spot for skilled players to show their skill. And when you watch Connor and Drysdale in the power play, when you watch Bergeron and Marchand, Pasternak, Matthews, Marner, JT, McKinnon, etc., these guys are finding a ton of open space. The 5 guys are moving the puck beautifully. There's so many goals being scored from the slot, or as we say, Ovechkin's office. That's where teams like Chicago, like Detroit, like Anaheim, like Ottawa, they're actually going to struggle on the power play. I think Ottawa has a better chance of scoring 5-on-5, where they're going to get dirty goals, where they're going to crash the net. There's no crashing the net on a power play because you're trying to set up that sort of box with box diamonds, so to speak. All the forwards are trying to create space for themselves. That the teams without the skill players are going to struggle on the power play, and the teams with the skill players are going to score a ton on the power play. I don't think Ottawa is going to remain at 11%, but I guarantee you they're going to be under 15.
I get what you mean, but I mean, if you ask Ottawa, do you want a power play right now? They're not going to say no. I mean, you put Shabbat out there, Stutzla, you put out Batherson. They're going to take the power play, but I get what you mean because there's no traffic, there's no bad goals like that. I do get what you mean, Carmine. Quick thought from you. We have to move on here.
Yeah, it's something that's going to change, as we said, throughout the season. You have to keep aware of even players who are missing from teams. Philadelphia with Couturier. And how that affects the power play. You look at the Edmonton Oilers, a team that last year hit at almost a 30% clip on the power play. This year, not so good at 17, but they need that right-handed shot in Clefboom. It's not working with Tyson Barrie there. You can see the power play. It just doesn't look the same. But eventually, everyone's healthy, and they'll begin to score goals. So give the Oilers a bit of a break as far as that goes. Anyways, I know we need to move on, Andrew.
Well, I'll throw it right back to you, Carm. We've discussed so much about how there's these back-to-back games, the revenge spots, and all 3 of us are going to discuss a revenge type of game for tomorrow's slate. Obviously, just 2 games on the card for tonight. So, Carmine, you're going to mention and talk about a series that is pretty much the best series we've seen all year long. I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, I think I tweeted this out last night because I did have the St. Louis Blues plus 135 yesterday against Vegas. I could watch these teams play pretty much 10 games in a row. It's such an entertaining game. Last night's game was great. These teams play tomorrow night on Thursday. Look at what Vegas had to go through yesterday, even though I had the Blues. The no coaching staff because of contact with COVID. The whole coaching staff was unavailable. They had to bring in a couple guys from, I think, an affiliate. Their GM was the coach. So you start with that. And then you look at Robin Lehner. Did not have a good game, especially in the first period. Shaky, allowed 3 goals. Puts them in a hole from the get-go. They've rotated their goalies every single game. So in keeping with that, it should be Fleury and net looking for the revenge. From that first period on, they outshot them 46-25, 29-17 from the second period on, and if you're watching the game, they hit that goalpost 7 times, including once or twice in OT. So Vegas came so close to coming, not only completing that comeback, but winning the game. With that said, I'm going the exact opposite way this time. I'm going to take the Golden Knights to bounce back off that game. I figure, from the start, they're going to be the much better team in this game. You can, they had 76 shot attempts. I want to finish that off with this one. 76 attempts on goal halfway through the third period. They were getting as much rubber at Binnington, and he was standing on his head. But if you watch that Vegas third period, my God, I can't believe that they didn't come back and actually win the game. So I'm going to come back with Vegas as our best bet on the show, which we'll have up later. Vegas minus 1.5 plus 165 on the puck line. I'm expecting them to win this game by 2+ goals.
And Prez, the interesting series I found was the Rangers and the Sabres. Look, I mentioned yesterday on Puck Time, I've bet on the Rangers twice so far this year, and I'm probably going to hold off and stop for a little while because they can't hold on to a lead. They've actually, I'm not a huge stats guy. You guys know that. But if you look at the expected wins, expected goals, this team is actually top 3 right now. They should have, they should be one of the top in their division. They are blowing away leads. And yesterday, again, they blew away a game that was certainly winnable for them. Do they bounce back against Buffalo?
Andrew, I think they do. Interesting game because both teams are fascinating. Buffalo has got a lot of talent up front, and I think a lot of games that Buffalo are going to come down to that power play, what we were speaking about again. They are so loaded with skill players on that power play. I think if the Rangers can stay out of the box, they're going to win this game. They're going to be around plus 115, and I like the Rangers here. The Sabres don't have a winning culture yet. And the question I ask myself is, over a 56-game period, how many times are the Sabres going to win 3 games in a row? I don't think it's going to happen a lot. I think a lot of the Sabres games are going to go over the total, and I think they're going to get their wins. But I don't see them putting a win streak together. Conversely, with the Rangers, this team as well, I don't want to say they're loaded with talent, but they have talented guys, and they have guys that can put the puck in the net, and they have a good goaltender, and their defense, although not a bunch of name guys, play very tight hockey. I mean, a lot of these Rangers games are going to be low-scoring hockey games. I think that the Rangers are really, and when you talk, Andrew, about how they're always, they have the lead and then they're letting it go. They're 5-6 games into the season. That is a fixable problem. A non-fixable problem is never having the lead and never being able to score. This is a fixable problem. Yeah, and they got a good coach, very veteran coach. So to me, I think this is an outstanding spot for the Rangers to go into Buffalo, win a game, and, potentially put a back-to-back together, because I think the Rangers are a better team than their record.
Couldn't agree more. I'm right there with you on that, Prez. I'm going with the Islanders for a back-to-back spot to get their revenge over the Washington Capitals. This game was all set, ready to go to overtime. Everyone was going to the fridge to get their beers, and all of a sudden they come back and the game is over. With 30 seconds to go, the Capitals put one home, and that game ends. I was on the Islanders, but I will go right back on them. Look, I think that you see this in a lot of sports, whether it's basketball, soccer, hockey as well. When players get injured and they go out, or whether they get suspended or whatever it may be, in the first game, the team rallies behind them. In the second game, it's going to be a battle. But as these games move forward, and they don't have Alexander Ovechkin, they don't have Orlov, they don't have Kuznetsov, now Tom Wilson is day-to-day, they don't have their regular goalie, Samsonov. It starts to weigh on you, and it's might look funny saying that because they've actually had some relative success, but I feel like the longer that they're out, and the later we're into their quarantine, the less success they'll have. And, the great coaching staff with the Islanders, I think they will clamp down defensively and get the win. And that is exactly why they are listed as minus 137 favorites here in that game. So I like the Islanders to bounce back, and Prez likes the Rangers to bounce back, and Carmine likes the Golden Knights to bounce back. Let's get a clean sweep here with these bounce back spots. Great show, guys. Lots of fun doing this show, even though there's only 2 games on tonight's slate. Don't forget to use that coupon code PuckTime100 on any of the NHL handicappers to save $100 off anyone's NHL season package. Let's go over some best bets real quick. Just to clarify, we'll start with you, Prez, just to go over your best bet for the show.
Yeah, I like the Predators -1.5 at +130, Andrew. I think we're going to see a score of 5-2. I think Nashville is going to really lay the smackdown on this brutal Chicago Blackhawk team.
And Prez, you were so good about always promoting me when I was on this show with you. So I know you're running completely red hot right now in the NHL. What's your run you're on?
Well, I've started the season 14-5, Andrew, so thanks for that. I have not lost 2 games in a row yet this season, and I did lose last night. And last time I lost a game, I won 3 in a row, so I'm expecting a big bounce back. And also, guys, it is very likely that I will have a 5% hockey play tomorrow, so check back for that. And money charts, bye, baby. You know what I'm talking about.
Carmine, I know you have a 5% play going in soccer this week. What else do you have for us? Maybe football action, a prop package up, or NHL package? What can we grab from you over at WagerTalk?
Yeah, I don't know if Prez was if that was the Backstreet Boys or NSYNC or whatever he was with his
You want me to sing the
stuff, but
Backstreet Boys?
no, I'm okay with that. It is the best bet on the show for me again is this game is tomorrow, Thursday, Vegas Golden Knights -1.5 +165. I figure they bounce back in a big way. While I could say it's going to finish 5-1, 5-2, it doesn't matter as long as they win by 2 or more. That's all that really matters to me. A couple plays up in soccer this afternoon. In EPL action, we swept yesterday's EPL, just absolutely on a killer run in soccer. So grab those, a 5% play up as far as Thursday as well in soccer, and a couple NHL plays up for tonight. So we're turning the corner here. It's been a very profitable start to 2021. I'm chasing Marco for top spot at WagerTalk, but I'm sure I'll pass him soon.
Yeah,
The two Italians going
Marco's
head to head.
Except Tokyo Brandon's in the top spot. So aim for second, Carm.
No, it's Marco, Tokyo Carm, and so Tokyo Brandon.
Tokyo Carm.
Oh, Marco went over. Marco's on a ridiculous run. Andrew, the runs that the guys at WagerTalk are on right now are all freaking world.
2021's looking pretty good right now for WagerTalk. Love to see it. My best bet's going to be the over in the Blackhawks and Predators game. I thought there was just so many opportunities, not just for the Predators last night, but also for the Blackhawks. We're getting a goaltender change, obviously a back-to-back position. And I like the over here, despite 2 teams that I feel like could be a little shaky. Blackhawks can score. They just allow a hell of a lot of goals as well. I want to take this time to not only promote NHL stuff I have up at WagerTalk, but for props. I mean, mostly my all access guys have been grabbing my props, but I'm up over 45% ROI last 2 months with the NFL props. Last weekend, just 1-0. Weekend before that, 4-1. NFL props have been rock solid. I will have a full Super Bowl prop package up, and we are going to do a special prop show this Friday on Prop It Up on WagerTalk TV, and also next Friday for the big game. So check that out, guys. Me, Andy Lang, and Matt Josephs, we really appreciate doing that show, and really appreciate you guys watching us. And the Prez has those guys on as guests on WagerTalk today, and maybe if I'm lucky, I'll get an invite sometime from the Prez. But thank you guys so much for watching. For Prez, for Carmine, I am Andrew. We'll see you tomorrow right here for Puck Time.
The NHL is back, and so are the expert hockey handicappers at WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com. Right now, you can lock in as many handicappers as you want through the Stanley Cup, getting you 25 weeks of hockey for $3.99 using coupon code PuckTime100 when purchasing an NHL season pass. Lock in your favorite handicapper through the Stanley Cup in July.